Happy 4th of July, everyone. Today is the day when Americans all over get together and celebrate the birth of our nation, the place of freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of the press, and so many more amazing freedoms that are not afforded to us in other countries. And today we find out that HBO Max has been set free from the interloping of Neil Druckmann, the mind behind The Last of Us and The Last of Us Part 2, and was a big player in the streaming series. We're going to talk about that and more, so sit back, relax, and welcome to Studio Jake. Hi everyone, my name is Jacob Berry. Welcome to the Studio Jake vidcast, where I talk about all things pop culture. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and if you're watching on YouTube, ring that little bell so you get notifications when I post a new vidcast, and consider becoming a channel member. Head on over to my website, studiojakemedia.substack.com, where you can subscribe and unlock all kinds of perks. And today I have an article that lists 10 movies that you can watch on Independence Day. All right, so Neil Druckmann is kind of a man who needs no introduction. He is one of the minds behind Naughty Dog, a game developing company. And by the way, I am a total normie when it comes to playing video games. I do kind of casually game, but I am in no sense of the word a gamer, nor am I super glued into the gaming community. So any information I say today regarding Naughty Dog or Neil Druckmann, it was relayed to me through people that I trust who are games, as well as me doing some research of my own. And this week, we found out through an announcement from Naughty Dog on their social media that Neil Druckmann, who had been kind of pulled away from the game developer onto HBO and HBO Max to work on the television adaptation of The Last of Us, that he is no longer with the show. This was kind of shocking to everyone, but here it is in plain black and white and red because they put a red bar around it for some reason. I'm going to read the statement to you directly from their social media. Directly from Naughty Dog, their official Twitter or X if you prefer, to our Naughty Dog community, we wanted to let you know that studio head Neil Druckmann delivered the following message to our team this morning. I've made the difficult decision to step away from my creative involvement in The Last of Us on HBO, with work completed on Season 2 and before any meaningful work starts on Season 3. Now is the right time for me to transition my complete focus to Naughty Dog and its future projects, including writing and directing our exciting next game, Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophets, along with my responsibilities as studio head and head of creative. Co-creating the show has been a career highlight. It's been an honor to work alongside Craig Mazin to executive produce, direct, and write on the last 2 seasons. I'm deeply thankful for the thoughtful approach and dedication the talented cast and crew took to adapting The Last of Us Part 1 and the continued adaptation of The Last of Us Part 2. And that concluded his statement. So, what does this tell me? He was fired. I mean, let's be real. This man is one of the biggest egotists and narcissists in game development. The fact that HBO even brought him on to help develop the series only probably inflated that ego. I mean, you look at it and how it took the character of Joel, who was stoic and a survivalist, and watered him down to this subservient, almost frightened deer in the headlights kind of guy. Now, I haven't watched the show. Again, that's what people have told me. So, people who are fans of The Last of Us and the DLCs, they don't care that much for part 2 or the show, but that is what I am being told. One of the key differences a lot of people have talked to me about is the lack of zombies. They just kind of appear when they need a plot device to move things along. How they changed certain, shall we say, romantic entanglements to the casting of Ellie. She went from the first game of being kind of this girl who was courageous, but also kind of willing to step back and let Joel lead her to where they were going, into this kind of jerk. And of course, we all saw that leaked scene, or I guess it was part of the trailer, when her girlfriend, who slept with a dude, by the way, says, I'm pregnant. And then Ellie responds, I'm going to be a dad. That was the stupidest line you could possibly have thrown in there. Now, what they should have done for season 2, since the first season covered most of the first game, what they should have done is change the story. Because I remember that was a big complaint about it, was the big battle between Ellie and who the Critical Drinker calls Gigantor. That was a big letdown because Ellie had been slaying this enemy's peers all throughout the whole game. But then, whenever she got to this enemy for their final battle, and the person who killed her father figure, instead of getting revenge, just lets her go. And that makes no sense to me. We'll have to see how season 3 develops, because my understanding is they didn't really do the entirety of part 2 in the season, and so it's going to go into season 3 and it's going to focus on that character, which great, fine, do whatever you want. But I just think it's funny that Neil Druckmann, who was the creative mind behind all of that, that he's been pushed aside. His creative input is probably what ruined the show. And that's no surprise. I mean, he basically let Anita Sarkeesian, for those of you who don't remember, she was one of the big promoters of Gamergate, where gamers got framed for being bigoted. Neil Druckmann brought her on to help with the story behind The Last of Us Part 2, and that's what killed it. They completely watered down Joel's character. They made the enemy of the game have almost like a reason to kill him, although I have heard that some people think that that was inserted in the game in a flashback just to give her an excuse. And also, Ellie's character has changed so much. Her and Joel aren't speaking for some reason. There's some tension between them. So I guess that caused problems in the game and now in the show. So it doesn't surprise me that Neil Druckmann is going to move on. He's going to work on Intergalactic, which, let's just say, from what I've heard, gamers aren't excited about that one either. It just goes to show you how one ego, when they get removed from their bubble, all of a sudden becomes an outsider and someone that creative partners don't want to work with. And if you have any thoughts on this, I'd love to hear them. Do you think the show is good? Did you like both of the games or just one of the games? I'd love to hear comment down below. But I have a feeling that Druckmann's days at Naughty Dog are just as numbered as they were at HBO. If you liked that video, be sure to give it a like, share it out to all your friends, leave me a comment, tell what you think, and subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, ring that little bell so you get notifications when I post new vidcasts, and consider becoming a channel member. If you want to support me in the work that I do, head on over to my new website, studiojakemedia.substack.com, where you can find all kinds of articles on pop culture. You can also read most of them for free, or you can sign up and subscribe at different tiers, which unlock some really cool perks. Thank you in advance. At that same website, there's a conveniently titled Buy My Books section where you can purchase one or all 4 of my novels. There's links all over the place, but they're all available on Amazon. Pick up one or all of them, leave me a 5-star review. It really helps out small indie creators like myself. Once again, have a very happy Independence Day. Don't go too hard on the fireworks. No, I'm just kidding. Light up the sky. Let's celebrate. It's America, baby. We're going to have fun. Blare your American rock, cook those hot dogs, cook that sloppy Joe. And yes, hamburgers are American. Do not buy European propaganda. Hamburgers are all American, baby. Yeah, America. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time right here on Studio Jake.
'Cause I've been living life right like I